Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm Dr. Brian Curtice, one of the paleontologists here at Fossil Crates. And today I have the wonderful opportunity to be speaking with the incomparable ReBecca Hunt Foster, who's the park paleontologist at one of my all-time favorite places, Dinosaur National Monument. So we're going to talk to ReBecca, and I'm just going to say, take it away. I'd love to hear about how you got into paleo and how did you get to where you are?
Yeah, I got into paleontology a little late in life. I kind of found paleontology through my interest in animals. And my mom was a librarian and would bring books home from work for me to read. And she brought a book home once called Digging Dinosaurs by Jack Horner and thought that maybe I would find it interesting. And I didn't know anything about dinosaurs. So I read this book. I took it to church camp. Read this book, which was like a double negative. I had to hide it under my pillow, and I fell in love with it. It was just riveting, and it really sounded like such an exciting field and career path. And so when I got home from church camp, I asked my mom for more books, and I just kept reading until I read everything that she had in her library, and then she was going back to school for her master's at the time, so I would go with her. And so I'd spend time in the college library and just read everything I could. And so that's kind of how I fell into paleontology. And I started writing letters to paleontologists and asking them questions and for information on local paleontology. And I was put in touch with the only other paleontologist in the entire state of Arkansas at the time. And his name is Dr. Leo Carson Davis, and he worked on some Pleistocene fossils in the northern part of Arkansas where I was growing up at the time. So he invited me out to one of his digs, which was in a sinkhole deposit in a cave, which was a lot of fun. So I got to go and work on little tiny rodents and things like that, screen wash in a creek, and had a blast. And that just really kind of set me off on this path that I'm on. So
That
it
is
was fun way to get
fantastic.
started.
Digging dinosaurs from at the spark that lit it all.
Yeah, it's
That
a great book.
and once you found the paleo bug, and it sounds like you worked on mammals for a while, what kind of academic path did you take?
So after high school, I went to college for and got a geology degree, and so I worked towards geology, but ended up getting an earth science degree. Actually, I found out that my senior year of college that I have dyslexia, and so I had to kind of change my plan a little bit and get an earth science degree, which was fine. It was great because calculus was difficult for me as it is for many people. But after that, I went on to grad school at Texas Tech University and was able to work on ceratopsian dinosaurs in Big Bend National Park, which was a lot of fun. Big Bend is a great place if you've ever had a chance to visit there. And if you haven't, you should. So I did my master's degree in geology at Texas Tech. And after that, started applying for jobs and have worked in a variety of places since then.
It's funny you mentioned your Texas Tech. I didn't realize that's where you wrote it, but I just read your paper about 5 nights ago on Torosaurus or
Yeah, that
ceratopsians.
was it was a specimen that Juan Langston had collected in the 1970s, which was really cool to get to work on a Langston specimen and then get to go over to University of Texas and talk with Dr. Langston about that specimen that he collected and ask him some questions about it. It was a lot of fun. It was a cool little critter to work on, and juvenile Torosaurus material, which is generally pretty rare. Well, now the Denver Museum has that beautiful little pterosaur that they collected from Thornton and stuff. So they've got, yeah, pretty good material, I think.
Yeah, it's. I think it's established. It's its own genus, but once someone puts something in the literature, it's out there.
Yep, yep. That's a great thing about science, always proving each other wrong.
Yep, it's research, searching again.
Yep.
So, Rebecca, you go through. You're working on your master's. You're studying dinosaurs. Everyone's dream, and then you right now are the paleontologist for one of the coolest places in the world, the Wall. Dinosaur National Monument, which is more than just the wall. It's a giant park. But how did you go through? What was your career path to get to the epic?
Yeah, so yeah, working at Dinosaur National Monument is something I honestly never expected to happen. I visited here with my mom and sister when I was still in high school and have a picture of myself in front of the quarry, and I knew that I wanted to do paleontology, but I don't think that I ever thought that I would be in charge of all this wonderful stuff that we have here. And so I mostly, after grad school, I worked on Antarctic fossils at Augustana College with Bill Hammer for a while as a preparator, where I learned a lot of skills and, you know, looking like when you're prepping, you know, keeping an eye out for what bone might come next and anticipating what might be right under the matrix and learning a lot of anatomy. And that was on a Jurassic dinosaur called Cryolophosaurus. And so that was a really cool specimen to get to work on, and working with Bill Hammer was absolutely wonderful. And then after that, I came out west and started working at the Museum of Western Colorado at Dinosaur Journey and met my eventual husband, John Foster, and we just really clicked and have a lot of fun working in the Morrison Formation. And he's an expert on the Morrison Formation, knows so much about it. And I've honestly learned so much from him over the years about all these cool critters that we have here at Dinosaur. And I worked at the museum for a number of years until I got a position with the Bureau of Land Management out of Moab, Utah. So I worked in southeastern Utah for 5.5 years as their district paleontologist and was in charge of all the fossils down there and helping researchers be able to get permits and finding people to come work on neat sites, lots of dinosaur tracks, really, really great fossil quarries. So it was a really great place to work. I had a blast. And a lot of the stuff that I learned there helped me to be able to get the position where I'm at today here at Dinosaur, where we manage not only the quarry wall, which preserves this really cool assemblage of 150 million year old dinosaurs, but we also have, you know, early Cretaceous dinosaurs like Dinosaurs, sauropods. And then the bulk of the park is Paleozoic fossils. And so finding researchers to come here and work on those Paleozoic fossils has been a big part of what I've been doing lately too.
That is awesome. I have loved the park from the very first time I went as an undergrad on a road trip, and have nothing but the utmost respect, and I dare say a little bit of jealousy, because that is one of those premier spots to be in if you like paleo. So congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I'm very lucky. It's such a cool place and has such a wonderful, rich history, and it's just a treat. And I love to be able to be here to, you know, bring in new paleontologists to come and do work. Welcome back some of the people who have been working here for years, sometimes decades, and just watch all the cool research that's taking place. It's a real treat.
That is awesome. Well, from everything I've seen and heard, you doing a wonderful job. So I cannot wait to get back out there, COVID willing this summer, but at some point in the next 700 days, I plan to show up with a smiley face and the camera, and we'll go from, and I'm tape measure.
Yeah, definitely. There's so many things. Bring a big tape measure though.
Oh yeah. As you've come up through the paleo community, you are a woman in paleontology, which is you know, it's not as rare as it used to be, but it's still one of those really neat things to see you in such a great position. Do you have any advice to young women and young individuals in general that want to become a paleontologist?
Yeah, just, you know, stay really passionate about it. You've got to really want it. It's a really competitive field and there aren't a lot of jobs. So you just have to work really hard, networking with people. You know, you'll have days where you're discouraged, but just keep moving forward, learn as many skills as you can. Travel around to museums if you're able to, or national parks, get out on your public land and hike, get to know what the rocks look like, get to know what the fossils look like in the ground. You know, meet collections managers and preparators and people that work in these other museums, because they're going to be your colleagues and your the people that you need to go to sometimes to get your work done that you need to get done. And they can really help you as you move forward in your career. So just, you know, always keep in mind who's come before you, and you know, be nice to people and work hard and just, yeah, keep your passion in it. Because Nobody's going to hand it to you. You got to work really hard.
That sounds like sage advice, and advice everyone would be in any field would be well to heed.
Yeah.
So what is your research? What are you working on now, if we may ask?
Yeah, right now I am working mostly on early Cretaceous ornithomimids. So those are ostrich-like dinosaurs that have long tails and long arms with fingers and funny, beaks on their mouths. And they're really interesting critters. They're theropod dinosaurs, so they're in that same line with the ever popular T-Rex and Allosaurus, but they don't get as much attention because they're smaller. Some people may not think as cool, but what they don't realize is it's actually one of the coolest. So working on these early Cretaceous ones, we have some from North America, and those are the ones I'm focused on. A lot of work has been done on ones from other countries like Mongolia or China. So there's a lot of more that are better known from the late Cretaceous. But I'm focusing on these early Cretaceous ones and looking at those.
Fantastic. Well, we can't wait to see that papers or their papers hit publication. Definitely going to feature them on the Fossil Crates world, because we actually offer an ornithomimus, Struthiomimus actually. We offer a hand claw in our Mesozoic monsters crate, because it's just got such cool claws.
They really do. They have those fun little finger claws, and they have these fun toe claws, and they're really neat critters.
Well, excellent taste, wonderful selection of animals to study, and can't wait to hear more. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers, or any items you'd like to cover?
Yeah, we hope that you all can come visit Dinosaur National Monument. We're open for the summer and getting ready to welcome in all the spring break people here pretty soon. The monument is open to the public, so we encourage you to come on out. Check our website before you come to see if there's any suggestions or things you need to know ahead of time, like our campground's open or what the visitor center hours are. And we hope that you can make it out to actually come see all the really cool, Morrison and late Jurassic fossils that we have up on the quarry wall that you can see behind me here.
If I had to pick my top 3 Dinosaur National Monuments right there, it's an incredible spiritual experience. If you like dinosaurs, it's just magical.
If you've never been here and you walk into the Carnegie Quarry, you kind of open those doors, it's hard to explain the scale of the quarry wall and what you're seeing. And then when you stare at it, you take it all in and you start to realize the volume of material that's on the wall and picking out things like, oh, there's a leg, or there's a skull, or there's a foot. It's a lot of fun to just kind of like just stare at, soak it in, and it is almost nuts. Some people call it a spiritual moment. It's like just communing with these animals, and it's really cool because we have a spot where you can go down to the wall and actually touch the fossils that are still embedded in the wall, just like they have been for 150 million years, and that's really special.
Wow, getting goosebumps. ReBecca, it has been my distinct pleasure to spend time with you. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and your words of wisdom. And we look forward to catching up with you again real soon.
Thank you for the invitation. It's nice to see everybody, and I appreciate it.
Thank you kindly. Adios.